I was quite disappointed with Switch 1's Pro Controller, mainly because of the D-pad, and that's what we're going to be focusing on today. I assume the rest of the controller is probably fine, but let's just do a classic unboxing to start with, which, oh, here we go. So in the box, we have USB-A to USB-C cable and the controller itself. A very simple unboxing we have here. Actually, the feeling in the hand is pretty good. The D-pad itself feels fine to me. That wasn't really the issue, like its tactility or feeling. My issue with the old one, well, I'm mostly a Tetris player when the D-pad is concerned, and apparently something with the contacts made that a not very good experience. Sometimes pressing left or right would result in pressing up, so a hard drop, and that's pretty bad if you've ever played Tetris. Otherwise, just quick thoughts. It conforms pretty well to my hands though. I gotta say, the sticks do feel good. When it comes to longevity, I obviously have no idea right now if we're eventually gonna have stick drift issues or anything like that. We are going to use the included cable as well, just to make sure there's as little variables I can't control as possible. Although for me, one of the big benefits to console gaming is that typically their wireless controllers pair very seamlessly and nice to their console, and with little latency. These buttons are kind of huge. It feels pretty good, like the texture is quite soft. It almost feels like somewhere in the middle of rubber and plastic. The shoulder buttons up here, you know, they don't have a ton of travel. The back ones have a little more, but still not much. It does seem to get dirty pretty fast. I do really like the cable a lot as well. Very thin, flexible, non-braided. I actually do not like braided cables. They become stiff. Do kind of wish USB-A died already so I could throw away the rest of my cables. So it seems to be more or less set up now. I got it plugged into the front of the Switch dock. Oh wait, I didn't even realize there are back buttons. Okay, that's pretty sick. That is definitely a premium. Like the base PS5 controller doesn't have those. Sony's Pro Controller is a lot more expensive than Nintendo's. But you do get the back buttons there. I mean, you can also swap out the sticks in case you have like stick drift down the line, but this isn't really a comparison between the two. Let's update the controller just to be on the safe side. Does seem like we do not have any sort of stick drift currently, which is good. Just try the other one as well. Also looks good. All right. I'm gonna go ahead and toggle this on as well, wired communication. So we'll grab the 2S Puyo Puyo. I don't think there's actually a difference, but I never bought it on Switch anyway, so sure. At the main menu, we should just be able to select Tetris and start building stuff. All right, moment of truth. I guess you can just see how I play as well. Okay, yeah. It will also take some getting used to. Oh Lord, because I will say I'm also used to the D-pad not being diagonal to my thumb. You know, usually they're on the same field with the PS5 controller. Oh wait, you can use the mouse controls? I imagine that's going to be a nightmare to learn. I'm hoping this just takes some getting used to, but it feels really bad right now. I think that's more so the game than the controller, to be honest. 135. Okay, 122. Already shaved 12 seconds off, so a big part of it is just getting used to the controller. So far, I don't feel like I've had any like accidental hard drops, and that was the big issue with the other one. So looking good so far, but once I start getting faster, could run into those issues again. And I can still feel my thumb rubbing up against the stick every now and then. Okay, let's go ahead and retry that one. Okay, we're gonna do a couple more, but then I'm gonna go to Tetris 99 because I need to see if it's really supposed to feel like this, or, you know, maybe they need an update for this game. It just feels very clunky, and I don't think that's the controller's fault, so, but it's kind of hard to, like, oh my God, like, Jesus, okay, I can't do this. Big Block DLC? Did I not buy that already? I could have sworn I bought this already, but whatever. I don't care right now. Not significantly better, actually, but better for sure. It still feels like there's some sort of input delay that is throwing me off a little bit. What the hell was that? Yeah, there is something that feels super funky. Oh, okay. I think it's just as bad as the old Pro Controller when I do that little test. If I'm just wiggling the left a little up, it does the hard drop. So, cool. That's actually crazy then that didn't happen that often when it's so easy to trigger a hard drop. Like, look at this dude. That was up. The game registered that as up. If you have any upward force while you're pressing left or right, it'll count as up, which can definitely happen when you're moving quickly from the D-pad. There is the low sensitivity option, which I guess I will try, but as far as I remember, it didn't help that much. And obviously all games aren't gonna have this. I'm quite sure Puyo doesn't. Well, let's see if the same thing happens. Yeah, it does. Like, you can see my thumb is nowhere near the up button, you know? I'm just applying a tiny bit of upward force. I mean, it is possible to play with it, but I am kind of internally sort of confirming every move to make sure everything is supposed to be where it is before I hard drop, and that of course slows me down a lot. No, there is some kind of strange delay going on there. And I think I want to go into like my editing program and see what kind of delay we're working with there. I've decided to scrap the live testing of input delay because it got really messy. I'm just going to explain the process of how I'm testing this, and then we'll look at the results live. To avoid as many variables as possible, we are going to take the Switch out of the dock and record it directly. I will clap to make sure the audio and video is lined up. And from there, we are going to somewhat forcefully tap a button so that it picks up in the microphone, and we'll compare the sound difference from that audio blip and the piece actually moving on screen. We'll do this with connected Joy-Cons, disconnected Joy-Cons, and the same with the Pro Controller, connected and disconnected. Though in this case, we do have to connect it directly to one of the Switch's USB-C ports, which means we need to swap out the cable for a C-to-C because the Switch doesn't have any USB-A ports on it directly. What I'm trying to figure out is where this latency is coming from that I'm experiencing while the Switch is docked. Is it the dock? Is it the Pro Controller? Is it how I have my setup set up? Okay, so here we are. These 4 different video clips are the 4 different tests we did. The first green marker is where my finger actually hits the button, and the second one is where the piece is registered. So there's some ghosting on this frame, like an in-between frame or whatever, but I still count that as having been registered because something happened. I guess the first thing to point out is the space between the green markers is pretty consistent. Like, they look all about the same distance. And if you want to get a reference for how long these clips are, I will play it real quick. It's not a long time. I have to use audio time measurements instead of frames per second because, as you can see here, there's not enough time, like in between. We can't hit the marker exactly. So in 60 FPS, there's 60 units. In audio time units, there's 48,000. We'll do the conversion later. I just want to see what the difference is. A couple of things stand out here. First of all, the Pro Controller, while connected, has actually more latency than the disconnected Joy-Cons. Of course, it's not by much. 3 milliseconds is a stupidly small amount of time, but I figured a Pro Controller would at least be on par with the default controller, you know? The other thing that surprised me is that playing wirelessly has almost no extra latency at all. It's about 3 milliseconds in both cases, which again is a stupidly small amount of time. It's about like 1/200th of a second, and while the test could be flawed in some way or another, considering I did the same thing to all of them, I expect the results will be consistent even if the numbers might be slightly changed. I guess the only real takeaway is that, yeah, the Pro Controller does have a bit more latency, but that's not what was causing our issues. It's too small of a difference for that to be a factor. Even best to worst cases, 10 milliseconds, 1/100th of a second extra input delay, which might be possible to notice if you're really looking for it. I did also want to see if it's possible to connect a PS5 controller to the Switch and have that work. A big part of me says, no, that won't work, but I still want to try it. I remember with Switch 1, this is what I ended up doing, but I can never connect it with a cable directly. I had to use a 8-bit DOE adapter, and then play wirelessly. And that still worked better than any of the other controllers I could find. So we're just going to plug it in the top here. Maybe they have changed something. We will see. Now using USB mic. Okay, well, we can use the microphone of the PS5 controller, so that's something. Nope, pretty sure not. Maybe there is or will be an adapter to play wirelessly, but for the sake of this test, yeah, let's just move on. Oh, I wasn't in Game Optimizer. Make sure your TV is in game mode, folks. Oh my god, that already feels instantly better. Oh, why did it do that though, man? I want to try the Pro Controller again now that we are in game mode on the TV. That I think was the main reason why there was such a big difference in feeling from playing directly on the Switch and here. I do want to go back to Puyo Puyo though and give that another chance because just clicking around the menus feels so much better already. Folks, put your TV in game mode if it has one. That would usually be the first thing I check, but my TV is just always in game mode, so I didn't think it would just randomly revert at one point. Yep, that instantly feels way better as well. This must be the last one. Damn it, of course that had to happen there. 110, dude, we're still so far away. Why? I don't think there's any way. Every time I try and go faster, stuff like that happens. I guess just for fun, we're gonna try these. Might feel a little bit more natural in this. It's not even really a D-pad, it's just 4 separate buttons, and that feels so much better. So much better than the Pro Controller, it's insane. I understand that the D-pad's not a priority, but you know, it should be at least decent. I think we'll get sub-minute easy. Oops. Okay, that was definitely my fault. Okay, wow. We got a 104, made that big mistake, and we cleared 2 more lines than we needed to. There it is. 5965. All right. Yeah, so even though this form factor is even more different from the PS5 controller, you know, this is not so far off. Yeah, this feels way better to actually play Tetris with. Most games these days don't really rely on the D-pad very heavily. Some still do though, so definitely a consideration if you play games that do. Platformers, for example, that use the D-pad or are better played with the D-pad. It's not only that it's way too easy to, hit the up button by not actually pressing up, it just also feels kind of slow and squishy compared to a lot of the other D-pads I've played with, and especially compared to these clicky buttons. It does feel quite nice in the hands though, I gotta say. For almost everything besides Tetris, I think this will be a good controller. Also, I have heard the battery life is very good on this, so that's always a plus as well. It actually feels really nice in the hands. Like, damn, it's such a shame. I wish the D-pad was better. That's the only thing. But all right, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Dropping a like or subscribing if you enjoyed is always greatly appreciated as well. Thanks, as always, for watching, and until next time.